Alright friends, today we're going to be finishing our flamingo drawing by tracing over all of our pencil lines if you did not finish that last week. So anything that you drew in pencil, you're going to trace over it with a Sharpie or a Sharpie pen, which would be a little smaller for smaller detail. When you get done tracing everything with a Sharpie, then we're going to move on to oil pastels. Your oil pastel sets will be in a clear container and there will be many different colors. You're going to use the white oil pastel for the inside of your flamingo's feathers. When we paint over oil pastel and paint resist each other, so you still should be able to see some of the oil pastel marks you make. You can decide to completely color in your flamingo's legs and feet. You can use a pink or a peach. Down at the bottom where the water is washing up on the shoreline, I'm using a squiggly line with my white oil pastel. It is difficult to see it now, but when I paint over, the white should still show. I'm adding some wavy lines for the ocean water with the blue, and some little squiggle lines with a green oil pastel for the bushes in the background. Next, I'm adding some lines in the bungalow in the background. You can use peach or brown. And finally, I'm adding in some dots at the bottom where the shoreline is washing up. You can use a brown or peach as well. And inside of your flamingo, you can also use a pink for the feathers of your bird. When you're done with your oil pastels, next we're going to be painting. You're going to need to wake up your colors using a wet brush. Make sure to treat your brush like a ballerina. If your brush starts to sound dry and scratchy, that means it's thirsty and it needs more water. Every time you use a color, if you want to change and get a new color, then you need to make sure to rinse your brush. We're going to be using a wet on wet technique. So that means I'm getting my paper wet with just water. Then I'm going to use the lighter blue for the water section. The paper is already wet, so when you paint on top of the already wet paper, it's going to create a very, very light color, and it's going to be much easier to paint. Next, I'm moving on to my sky. You can also use the wet on wet technique for your sky as well. If you want your clouds to stay white, you can go over them with a white oil pastel. Make sure to paint in everything and don't leave anything white unless you want to leave your clouds white. Next, I'm waking up my lime green color and I'm waking up the shrubs in the background. And finally, I'm waking up the tan and I'm painting the sand at the bottom as well as the beach bungalow. You can also wake up a little bit of the brown and create some textures in your sand as well. When you're done, put your artwork on the drying rack.